if you're considering how taking your children back home, forget it. Right? When they get older, they're not going. Just bear that in mind. You might be comfortable with it. You might be one of them people that don't want to go back. That's cool. But just have that in mind. So, if you're doing loads of projects back home with the view, we see 12-bedroom house, 16-bedroom house, 6 in Accra, 4 in wherever, East Legon, blah blah. Just bear in mind, say anything happens or when you go, they're not coming to take over. Now, there's exception to the rule, but now, as the Ghana governments over the few years have tried to encourage people to come back home, you might get a few that come back and then maybe use it for Airbnb or use it for work. It depends. But all I'm saying to you is that they're not going to come back. Your vision of them coming back to sustain what you're killing yourself for is not going to happen. So have that at the back of your mind as well. Now, because yeah, of course, I was doing a FA award, youth, I forgot what it's called, FA youth course or something like that. And the tutor made a statement that basically children seem to form good friendships between the ages I think 13 to 16, around the teenage age going towards 19. So where you tend to have your friends, right, around teenage years, you tend to kind of form close bonds. And if the person grew up abroad, then it's going to be very difficult for them to have any association with anyone, their classmates or anything back home. You understand? So the love you have for the place or your thinking for back home, wherever African country you're from, just bear that in mind that they wouldn't have the same thing. Now, you could go back more often, which is better than nothing. The language, I used to, obviously there's a lot of children here that kind of get embarrassed with their language and stuff like that. And I've known families for 20 years, 30 years that when they speak to the children, they respond in English. And that's the best they could get. They speak to them because they got no one to speak the language with unless they happen to kind of find a friend that speaks it. It will teach you, she understand the language, but on can. They won't speak it. That will also happen. Even though with the best will of the parents, so they're trying hard. What I normally find is when the mum, which in general tends to be with the children more often, speaks it, the children picks it up. But even if the dad speaks it, they can hear you, but they just won't respond. But that's still better than nothing anyway. So I just wanted to mention that point. That wherever you build back home, just remember that all that killing yourself for and hoping that your children will go and continue, they're not going to. Because especially if you follow the system and you go to from childhood, you're separating yourself more and more and more. 5 days a week they know with you, 5 days a week they know with you, college, then you become almost irrelevant. And then once you kind of kill it off by going to university for that 4 years, that's it. The bond is kind of broken. I've not said it's permanently broken, but it's not the same as when you give birth to them and that first play of the first 4 years that you have. So now, where they made their friendships when they go to school, the classes, the football class, the basketball class, and everything, that's where their bonds are. That's where their friends are. And with that too, you have to be careful who you select, because the wrong person can be influenced, and then that's it. You're doing your work, and someone's influencing them. How many times have you not told your children swear words and everything, but they go to football, and when they're in their pitch, you might be far away from them. They're swearing all over the place because your child almost have to get them used to it. Don't be too what's the word? A man and half too much, because at the end of the day, and it happens. But just teach them that there's different parts, everyone from a different household. So I just wanted to mention that bit about the properties and the investments that you're doing abroad, sending everything, constantly. You work, you send almost quarter half to try and invest, to better your life, to try something back home. Just remember that it's very, very difficult for them to go back, almost impossible. The only thing is maybe around teenage years, maybe they can go secondary school there or something like that. Then hopefully they'll form friendship that they'll want to go back. But at the end of the day, forget it. Especially if you've gone and built in the woods somewhere, they're not coming, they're not going. I heard of a friend story of how their land is in a very, very good place, and the neighbor kind of known. So when after the parent passed away, and the dad passed away, the neighbor called the kids and said, "Oh, you know, why your mom's like, they're not interested." Said, "Okay, let's sell it." And they sold it. They sold it for like pittance, but it was very, very good property as well. So just remember that. And if you can, just as long as you can, it's getting more and more expensive to take your children. If you've got 2 children or something like that, and you still have 4 of you going, you're looking at 4 grand, 5 grand. So I'm just saying that when you're having children, plan that also. You know, if you're gonna have them back home and then come here and then work and then be traveling in and out, I think that's probably I think that's the best option, to be honest with you. Or decide that you're not going full stop, but when you do it, just remember that or give it to a nephew, or I say there's something to kind of inherit it, because their children are, in most cases, they're not going to go anyway. All right.